live. Hey everyone, welcome. We're back. We're here to talk NFL draft. Go Raiders. I might as well start it off like that. Um, yeah, just want to say welcome back. I know we're kind of starting a little bit late, or not late, but well, I guess it's on time for everybody. Let's bring Juan in right away because we needed to get him on the show. Juan, what's up?
Yo, how's it going, man? I'm over here trying to turn down the volume on this TV, but I don't think you can hear
That's
it.
fine.
Just trying to keep up with the draft, trying to keep up with the draft.
Oh
See.
I forgot it's still on right now. I
Nah,
actually I just got to the house about 30 minutes ago. Got a quick bite of dinner and hopped on right now. I had to do some remote working and I just got finished. So I don't think Guru's on yet. So let me just set your camera up so you can be side by side next to me. Let me scoop myself over. Boom. Now we're side to side. Boom. Let's talk draft. We might as well get right into it. I don't think there's no point of fiddling around
yeah.
with it. What did you think?
No.
Winners and losers.
Um, Winners. Not gonna lie, I like what Miami did. I I think Miami is definitely a winner in this draft. Um, you know, I know that Tua has an exclamation mark. We don't know how healthy he is, but I told you, man, it was just smoke when it came to Herbert. I know that everybody was like, "Oh, Herbert's gonna go there." I think Tua was their guy all along, and sure enough, that was the pick.
Yeah.
For losers, I I don't really know. I mean, the only one that stands out, to tell you the truth, is possibly the Eagles. I mean,
Why?
they only had one pick, but the receiver, I mean, there was, they need a receiver. They definitely need help. I mean, they got rid of that bum. I mean, that great receiver, you know, Aguilar, but I just think they picked the wrong receiver. Like Regur, his dad used to play in Indianapolis. He was a defensive end. So he definitely has that, NFL name. But I just think he went, too soon. I mean, the same could be said for another pick out there, but I wouldn't consider.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I see what you're trying to do. But go ahead, continue.
I wouldn't necessarily call the Raiders losers. I really really like that Ruggs pick. I think they actually caused the Niners to trade their pick. I think that's really who they were going for. And they switched gears with picking who they picked, but that cornerback is a little questionable. Although, all everybody was saying he has the tape. He's really good on tape. He's really good on technique, but I think they reached on that cornerback. But then again, Raiders are gonna Raider, right?
Raiders gonna Raider. Somebody said Al. They said, well, I don't. One of my buddies texted me, and I've been circulating text. They said Davis was doing this draft. He he
Yeah,
seen a receiver with 4.2 speed and had to take him.
yeah. Well, no. I mean, just a bit of foresight. I mean, that's absolutely true, man. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but Raiders didn't have a second round pick.
Yeah, they don't.
They had back to back third round picks, and they just went. They picked two other receivers back to back. I mean, they got a pretty good guy, and both of them are quality receivers in the third round of what they picked, man. They picked up Larry Bowden Jr. from Kentucky. He was a receiver, but he actually played quarterback for them towards the end of the college year. And then they picked up who I think is actually a really good pickup. He's going to give Williams a run for his money on your squad, man. He's an X type receiver. Um, Brian Edwards from South Carolina. That was a really good sneaky pickup in the third round. But we're talking about first.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the ones that really stood out to me, man. Like I think Miami did really really well for themselves. They needed help across the board. I think the Eagles. definitely, reached a little bit on receiver. I mean, I would have went after Ayuk,
Yeah.
if that was the case. Um, and then just a questionable, very, very questionable pick with the Raiders. But um, what were your thoughts, man? Who was your winners? Who was your losers?
Um, the winners. Oops, I think I cut myself off. Yeah, for winners, I'm going Miami. I think Miami went in there with a plan and they kind of executed. Like you said, it was a lot of smoke and mirrors when it came for Tua. That's the guy they wanted the whole time. So they got their guy, man. I'm trying to pull up the whole board right now so I can get it on for the viewers. But yeah, I think Miami did a good job with their 3 first rounders. Um, I guess we could talk about the who I thought was the biggest shocker of them all, and I think that was obvious. But we actually called it on this show first um, prior, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good that you kind of hit that one on the nail. And yeah, I thought they lost. If I could pick one team, I thought the Packers didn't do a good job with drafting. I don't. I go back to my original statement, but yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Talk about your boy.
Well, I mean, obviously, I wish Guru was here. I mean, that's definitely man crush, Jordan Love.
Man,
There,
he'll be in
Uh,
15 minutes. He'll be here in 15 minutes.
that was definitely Guru's boy and having him go third overall. You
Yeah,
know,
I
but
text. I sent a quick text to him. I said, "Hey, with that, you had Jordan Love going third and Dak Prescott going to the Dolphins. You shall not be called Guru ever again. We're gonna call you something else."
uh, I mean, I really saw. I don't know what it was. I mean, to tell you the truth, I didn't see a lot of buzz around the Packers and picking a quarterback out there as much.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was putting two and two together, man, I mean, deja vu. What goes around comes around. It was one of those. I mean, similar to the Favre situation. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to start thinking about the replacement with Rodgers. I mean, that's really where they think their pick was. Like Rodgers is 36, I believe. I mean, still very very serviceable. Still very one of the best quarterbacks out there. But what do you do after? Like you got to set yourself up. And, you know, most teams aren't successful if it's not a big top pick to have a rookie quarterback start right off the bat. Um, I think this is a perfect scenario for Love, but I think there was a point that you said last show that definitely showed itself, or at least all the rumblings after this pick, and that's Rodgers' toxic mentality, or characteristic. And yeah, I mean, I think reports right after that pick, reports were like he was like taken aback by management, saying that they were gonna get some skill players. And I mean, obviously they got a skill player. It just so happens to be his replacement.
Right. I was watching. I don't know if you watched Pat McAfee. And that he's hilarious. He's great. He had Aaron Rodgers on the show earlier that day, and yesterday Aaron Rodgers was talking about how the Packers haven't picked a skill position player in the last like 7 years, I think. Who was it? It was
Yeah.
someone last. I forgot. But it's been a long time, and he was looking forward for a skilled position player, and they just drafted a player at his position. It's like why? Like Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't have the mental fortitude. Like I said, anybody who can be mad at his own family, his own kin. Like I know it was big California wildfires a few years back, and not to call on his mother, whose city that when her house burned down. You gotta be like not say a bad person, but you gotta be like a stern attitude type of person. And for him to be spurned by these coaches and GM, I don't think it's gonna fly with him. I think it might become real big problems because, like you said, it's kind of deja vu that it happened to him when he was the original guy it happened for. So it's
Yeah.
just interesting. I don't know what the Packers are thinking. They're one game away from the Super Bowl. They got blown out on defense. They could have went cornerback. Safeties were out there. They had some good picks. But they just left it out, and they just really
Yeah.
picked up a quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback, and don't get me wrong, but I think Aaron Rodgers has 4 years left on his contract, and the way the NFL is going now, these guys are playing out these quarterbacks with the protection from the referees and how the rules changes. The longevity for quarterbacks is much, 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 much longer. So I don't see why they need to feel like they need the number one pick. I mean, their number one pick of this year's draft should have been a quarterback. I think they should have waited. Maybe they really enamored in love with Love, and it's like that's the guy. He's the one. He's the one, and you don't want him to be the one that got away. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Because it was the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, and look, they told it right. So maybe this will just be part two and just be the Green Bay type of thing. But let's go back to Miami though, because I'm gonna look into their picks. I'm gonna see if I can get them on the screen. Let me see if I can get them on the screen. Screen cap. Okay, 1 second, everyone. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to pull this up so I can really see what I'm looking at. It's kind of working. Okay, you can kind of see the picks. That's good enough. They got Tua. Can you say his last name or?
I think it's Tagovailoa.
It's something. So they got Tua with the 5th pick, quarterback, and then they brought some help. And if you watch the draft, even Roger Goodell, he kind of tipped the pick. He was like, "You got Tua some help," and it's like, "Come on, man, you're spoiling it. I know you're announcing it, and you're the guy who's gonna say it anyway. But come on, give us some kind of give us some leeway." But they got Austin Jackson, USC tackle. I think you were high on Austin Jackson, right? How were you? Let me check.
No, that was actually Guru. That was actually Guru, man. Guru was.
Oh yeah, it was Guru. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Is this Guru right here? Is this Guru?
I mean, he has some upside, man. I mean, I think that's a great pick where he actually went. I mean, if I saw him going any earlier, it definitely would have been a stretch. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of cornerbacks and a lot of linemen were the ones that were getting drafted in that first round.
And for the Dolphins' final pick, they selected cornerback, and I'm not gonna butcher his last name, but I'm gonna try. Noah Inchbinable. Let me just put it on the screen because I can't say his last name. Pick number 30, Noah I. Yeah, real solid. They got real solid all around players all around the board. If Tua pans out, and normally linemen pan out in these drafts to where they were worth the pick and worth the grade. So if Tua pans out, I think this would be a hit for him. He's a good kid. He has that good head on his shoulders. It just his injury that just scares off a lot of people. So hopefully he can get past that. But we'll see. But yeah, this draft was pretty interesting. It was the first one that was remote. And it had a lot of interesting moments, a lot of viral moments, I think.
Yeah.
It didn't cut off as much as I thought it was going to. But I know CD, do we have any Cowboys fans in the house? Because I think that's pretty weird that they picked a wide receiver. But not surprising. We all know Jerry Jones, love his Oklahoma players. And he got one. He was real high on Roy Williams when he drafted him, so I'm not surprised. And now he got his guy, C.D. Williams. That's his name, C.D. Williams, correct? C.D.
No, it's Lamb.
Lamb, yeah, C.D. Lamb. Yeah. C.D. Lamb was like, how'd it go? He got drafted. Maybe his questionables are his buddies. Who knows? We know people don't do nothing suspicious nowadays. I read one, he had her engagement surprise on the phone and he didn't want to spoil it for her. So he snatched it away. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a good one. But I don't know. I think the not Niners, but I think they wasted a pick. How do you feel about that pick, Juan, about receiver?
I mean, I truly understand it because it's Jerry Jones. He loves taking the best available. All the projections were saying CeeDee Lamb was going to go before. He wasn't going to be available at that pick. So with that being said, it makes sense why he took him. You want to get somebody, a couple picks ahead talent, go ahead and do it. Also, he plays the slot. They just lost Randall Cobb, who didn't really pan out for them last year. So replaces a need. I truly believe the person that got drafted beforehand, so the Falcons went before them and took A.J. Terrell, that cornerback. Yeah. I had projected that cornerback to go to them at that pick. because that happened, I truly believe that's the reason why they went this route. If he was available, I think they probably would have addressed that cornerback need that they really really have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we were texting after where I was like, you got $100 million receiver, and you're saying, hey, here's some help. You know, like if I was gonna do something crazy like that, they might as well just drafted Jordan Love.
Yeah.
You know. But I mean, it helps them. I think it definitely helps them. But I mean, what are you going to do now with some of those receivers? I mean, they were really, really high on Gallup. You know, they had that one. I can't remember his name. Sorry, but there was that one. I think it was Williams, maybe, that just came out of nowhere and was opposite Cooper. Actually outperformed Gallup, I think, just because he was hurt. But yeah, I mean, I think that's Jerry Jones, right? The report saying, hey, scouts, don't bug me, don't call me. I mean, everybody was saying his backdrop, he's on his $250 million yacht. So he's probably in the Gulf Coast somewhere, you know, just chilling, sipping. It made sense for being a Jerry Jones pick, but it definitely is questionable.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it pans out. Let me see who Guru had on this, because I know Guru's a big Cowboys. He had, Justin Jefferson. Another receiver, so I guess it wasn't too far. Wait, did he have him? Hold on, let me make sure I'm getting this right. Oh no, he didn't. Guru had Xavier McKinney. Yeah, I thought they were gonna go defense, but maybe they were, and then the pick probably got stolen up from under them. So maybe we'll see. Any second round news? I haven't been watching today. I have not been watching it, unfortunately.
Sorry, I don't. I mean, I have been watching it. Second round, I mean, I think the Bengals went with a receiver. They took T. Higgins. So they got, you know, Burrow some immediate help. You know, it kind of, if AJ Green doesn't stay healthy, that definitely adds some insurance. The team that I think is doing really well in the second, or that did really well in the second round, is actually Indianapolis, man.
What do they get?
The Colts.
Pittman? Oh, Michael Pittman.
And then they moved up and drafted the running back from Wisconsin, Taylor.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor, yeah.
I think that's very, very strong, man. You know, Pittman was no slab at USC, and now they get that awesome running back. I think that was good. Miami again. I mean, just drafting for need. I think they're killing it, man. I mean, now it's just, is it going to transition? Is it going to transition on the field? Who knows, right? But I really like Miami's coach, Brian Flores, and yeah. But I mean, that's the big one. I was curious in the third round, man. Like I said, the Raiders taking back-to-back receivers and back-to-back picks. I mean, that's Al Davis, man. He definitely came back. His draft is definitely Al Davis all over.
Yeah, Al's lived through us. Yeah, I'm real proud of it. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Take some clippers to that. Somebody said I should take some clippers to my face. Hey, man, it's quarantine. I wish I could take clippers too. My barber, he actually watches the show. Great guy. He watches the show every week. Every week he's watching the show, and he's telling me I need to get back and look right. But, you know, it's quarantine talks for a reason, because we have to stay at home, stay inside. Let's talk about Tampa Bay. They got some more protection for your boy. We have a Tampa Bay. No Bucks talk. Yeah, let's talk Tampa Bay, what they did in the first round.
Yeah, so they took
what's his name? Yeah, they took the best guy who could have went higher.
I think so. I mean, I had Worth going to the Giants at 4. I think he was the best tackle, like ready tackle. There's definitely some more upside. You know, I mean, I think Andrew Thomas had some of the biggest upside, and he went to 4. But that was a smart pick for the Buccaneers. You know, they definitely helped Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady's smart, and he doesn't get sacked all that much, and he can release the ball fairly quick. But especially with that offensive talent that he has with him. I mean, it's an embarrassment of talent that he's going to have in that offense.
Yeah, we'll see.
But that pick makes sense. That it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, it was a good pick. And then I think second round they got Junior. What's his name? And the cornerback son. He's the same. Antoine Winfield Jr. Yeah.
That's a good pick, man. I mean, he was first round talent, I think, like late first round, and for them to get him in the second, I think that's a come up. That guy's versatile. You know, he played safety and cornerback, has kind of have that hybrid nickel, and I think people forget, but the Bucs defense was already stout as hell, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been drafting some studs over there, and even though that offense, you know, they had 2,000-yard receivers, that defense that held them up, man. I mean, you have a quarterback throw 30 picks and you're still in the running. Come on, you know.
Yeah. Wonder what that quarterback is doing now. But let's get into. I've been accused of never talking about the 49ers, so let's just talk about the 49ers briefly. I guess we can talk about the 49ers.
Wait. I think from now on we need to change their name, and they're not the 49ers. They're the D-liners.
Man, that's all. Yeah. That's all they get. That's all they love is defense. Javon Kinlaw, which is a great pick. I'm not gonna lie and hate on it, but man, like how much more do you need? They're like, we need all of them. We want all of them.
I think, right? It literally is. Yeah, it's a Thanos move in this situation, right? Like they've been drafting nothing but D-line, and it's panned out. You know, last year. Embarrassment of riches, right? The reason that they were able to trade Buckner, you know, you just locked down a whole bunch of, you know, who is it? Armstead is the one that they signed to a long deal. I mean, you still have D Ford, you still have, you know, Bosa, who's going to disrupt. So in doing all of that, not taking anything away from Kinlaw, because that guy's a dog. That guy is definitely going to be a true replacement for what Buckner brought, is just D-line. I think there was definitely more. There was a position that they could have helped themselves in, but I mean, they were in the bowl. Really, you know, I thought they would have went receiver. I thought they would have went with one of the top receivers, but. What do you take on the D-liners, man?
They did okay. I'm not gonna hate on them. They hold on, let me put myself back on screen. They took what I thought they were. Kinlaw was kind of surprised that they went D-line that early, but they got Brandon Ayuk, or whatever how you say his last name, Ayuk. They got him at a receiver, and that's a need position. So, I'm just gonna be honest, and I'll say this about the Niners, and I will just let it go once I say it. The Niners been drafting well besides their receivers earlier, but they've been hitting it with Debo, and John Lynch is proving and showing. John Lynch is showing that he's good at his job, so I can't really hate on their picks. I really can't. Like I want to have some hate for the Niners because it's just natural for me, but they gotta. They could have. I thought they could have went offensive lineman, but they kind of. I guess they're okay with the guys they have. They have a system, and like how they do the same thing for defense, and their defensive line is the same way. So it's not far fetched that they lost a guy, so they draft a guy just to plug back in there because they gotta get that revolving circles of all-star D linemen and receivers. If they can hit on this one, they hit on Debo. You go with their three-headed running back. You know what? They could have went cornerback though. I thought they were gonna go cornerback. Because Richard Sherman got ate up in the biggest game of his life, and it's not his fault.
There was
some
old, help.
So
maybe the Raiders shook them, man, by taking the cornerback that they took. You know?
Yeah, maybe. Well, let's get right into it. We talked briefly about the San Francisco D-liners, 49ers. Let's go back to the old team in the Bay, the new team in Las Vegas, the Raiders. I'll let you go with the Raiders draft. How do you feel about it?
The Raiders? All right. I really like their receiver pick. I mean, I think Ruggs had the best upside out of most of the receivers in the draft. I mean, was he the best one? I don't think so. But that speed is undeniable. The There was this ridiculous stat that I saw earlier today, where you would think him being that fast, he was he was the deep threat. He only caught 12 deep passes. And that's one of those where it's like, guess what? I don't think Derek Carr is a deep passer. So it made sense. I mean, I definitely think that was a great pick. I definitely think, last year they drafted well on the defensive side. I mean, they drafted well, I would say. I think Farrell from last year is still the one kind of questioning why go at 4. And he didn't produce as a 4, but he was still serviceable. This year, the question is cornerback. I know that there's need there. I know that, the deal with your boy Eli Apple fell through. So they definitely, you're probably happy about that, right?
You know it.
So there definitely was a need. So they're drafting for need. Was there other people there? I mean, if we're really looking at the draft, there really was, between the top guys, so between Jeff Okudah and CJ Henderson, who went way earlier in the draft, it's a toss-up. Like there's the distance between those cornerbacks or like the next cornerback is so far, that gap being so big, it's a toss-up. So did they reach? Everybody thinks so. I mean, the same could have been said last year with Crosby, but that pick seemed solid. I hope, Mayock has proven that this is something that he does. I just hope it pans out. I didn't understand that individual though. But
yeah,
the draft makes
no sense, but I love the picks. I'm gonna go in real positive about this. Henry Ruggs, Trey the third. He's a player, it was a toss up between all the receivers. He was a top receiver for other people. He wasn't. Was. So the receivers kind of like toss up. I know Guru was real high on him. Guru had him actually going to the Raiders. That Guru picked that one right. He picked Ruggs to the Raiders. He said he's an NFL rated wide receiver. He's fast. It's someone that can bail Carr out. Like when Derek Carr, he like to dink and dunk. So sometimes you got these dink and dunk quarterbacks. It's good to give it to a guy that can kind of run and go with the ball, or if he's run real fast, you just throw it real far. If you're not as accurate, he can go run and chase it. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise. As far as our cornerback pick, sure, it would. Okay, I'll be honest. Damon Arnett was a reach, but when you break it down, look at the tape, and really look at his numbers, you can see why the Raiders drafted him. And sometimes when you fall in love with a player in the NFL draft, and it's a chance when everything goes into the second round, you don't really know where people are going because people kind of go for a need or they kind of go for best available. And if you think that he was going to be gone in a early second part of the draft and you couldn't move back, you grab him. That's exactly what they did. We're known for getting spurned with our cornerbacks that we draft, Huff, Hayden, Emerson, a lot. It's like a long tail of tape of what we try to do at corner to help ourselves out, and we can't. We've been missing the guy since Nnamdi Asomugha. That's what he gets for going to Philly, ruined his career. But anyway, so I can see why the Raiders did that, and we don't really have no pick the second round. I don't know what we did with our most recent pick. Let me look that up real fast. But as far as everybody's bashing the Raiders pick, saying it was dumb and this and that, you kind of got to give Mayock the same leeway we giving John Lynch right now, because John Lynch is proving that he's been cool in the draft, and Mayock, besides Farrell, okay, oh man, I'm just looking at the I'm just looking. Sorry, everyone out there. Sorry, I just got home. I had to do some quick little scooters. I just got home, and I just seen who the Raiders picked in the third round of the NFL draft, and they didn't upset. If you think about Raiders football, They went Lynn Bowden and Edwards back to back at the same position. Hold on. I don't. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Go ahead, Juan. I need you to take this for 1 second. Yeah, what's going on?
Definitely, man. It's back-to-back receivers, man. I mean, I like both of those receivers. It's just what are they gonna do with them? You know, Bowden, I understand. You know, he played a little quarterback. Maybe they see him as quarterback. Maybe you don't. Maybe they see him, you know, throw the wildcat. Maybe it opens up the playbook. Edwards, he, like I said earlier, he's a Y type receiver or X type receiver, meaning that's what Tyrell Williams plays. So maybe they don't have confidence there, but it's weird, man. Back-to-back receivers. I mean, I really think that they're drafting. This is Al Davis, but they could also just be, hey, they have their board. They're just going to draft who they identified before this, and they're just sticking to it. Like, not moving, not shaking. They're just saying, all right, this guy's who we have. This is who we're gonna take. Just like you said, man. Like, they didn't have a second-round pick. He possibly wasn't going to be there to the third. Take him. If you can't move anything, at the same time, Mayock saw something because guess what? The number one cornerback was on his opposite side. So if teams knew he was the number one cornerback, you know for a fact all the action was going to go to Arnett. And looking at film, he held his own. So there's definitely some positive there. But yeah, man, I started Raiders went back-to-back receivers.
That's crazy. I don't know, man. We already have Tyrell Williams, Nelson Aguilar. We got Zay Jones. And I didn't even mention Hunter Renfrow yet.
60-year-old Hunter Renfrow.
And then this is added. Those four guys are already on the team. And we're gonna add 3 draft picks at that same position? I don't know, man. I was cool with our first round pick.
I really think, I mean, there's part of me that really thinks they see Bowden as a quarterback.
Quarter?
Yeah. With Kentucky, that Kentucky receiver, he played the last half of the college season as quarterback because Kentucky's quarterback went down, and he was I believe he was an All-American quarterback in high school. So he was playing quarterback, and he's a dual threat. I mean, he rushed a lot. I think he actually had like 1,000 yards rushing as a quarterback, or he was just setting records, ridiculous. I don't know the actual stats on him, but maybe they see him as a quarterback. But that's where I say that it opens up the playbook maybe for them. You know, they'll bring back the Wildcat. I mean, if that works, but it definitely gives you some. You know, you can put him in the pocket and give people different looks.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Let me take it to the lines. Oh, I finally got not some hate mail, but somebody's joking on me right now. Someone said they said I need to get a haircut. I look like Jamie Foxx and Mercy, and then they showed the picture. Let me show it to everyone. That's messed up. He said I need to cut my mustache. Hey man, I wish I can cut it too. But at the same time, stay at home. COVID-19, 2020. For Trump checks. Nah, just messing around. But yeah, back to the draft. I don't know. It's been a cool draft. I don't really like. I don't know, this whole it being remote and everybody's being inside their home, and you know we're embracing technology. I think it's cool.
I like it, man.
Yeah,
I like it. I think it's cool seeing, you know, their setup. It's cool. You know, the other thing that's pretty weird though is like some of these houses have way more than 10 people. And it's like, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. But it's like, hey man, stay the hell home. But
yeah,
it's cool. I want to see another one of these, man. I think that they shouldn't stop. I don't think all of them should be remote. I mean, it takes away from like, the destination, but I like it, man. It's pretty cool to see, some of them living very, very humble, and I'm talking about the NFL guys, right? Like looking at the GMs and the coaches, some of them are definitely, humbled, and you can tell they're not spending their money on luxury. But then others are definitely spending their money. I mean, did you check out Klingsberg, Arizona's coach? That guy has a house.
Yeah, I like Bruce Arians was my favorite setup.
Inside a house. Oh yeah, Arians was dope. He was out in the porch or something like that, like just backyard.
Yeah, he's in his backyard. He had his apple right there, and he just in his Kango just chilling like.
Belichick's dope, man. You see Belichick?
I didn't.
His is just a plain, like simple, like kind of like dining table. And today he definitely has the next meme, dude. They cut to him and he's not sitting in the chair. He has his dog sitting in the chair. And it's just a picture of his dog with saying Bill Belichick. It's phenomenal, man. I think you should look it up, dude.
When I get back on socials, hopefully I can see that. It's so funny, man. Who else had it? Hilarious. Yeah, it was hilarious. A lot of things were going on. I know Mike Rabel had his house was crazy. He had a guy with a costume on, froze on, and I think a guy in the background was taking a dump, and he forgot to close the door. Like, come on, man. And then I guess somebody wants to talk about the CD again, CeeDee Lamb. We already did, but oh no, let's talk about the girl getting moved. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We did not talk about that. You want to talk about the mother that tossed the girlfriend off the lap. What's the lineman? Yeah. He got drafted. Let's see, where'd he go?
You shouldn't be.
Isaiah Wilson to the 29 to the Georgia tackle. He was I get it. She's all in his way during this moment where they focusing on him, and she's just looking in the camera all like this, fake hugging him, like, girl, move. Her mom, move. Man, yeah, I don't know. You're right. If the draft is gonna go like this, we're gonna see crazy things. We're gonna see inside people's home, and just and something where we can build memes from. I'm here for it because memes are always funny.
What was it? I think it was Kinlaw's dad that just rolling on the ground.
Wait, say that one more time. You kind of got cut off.
I think it was Kinlaw's dad who when they cut to him, he's rolling on the ground. He like rolled off the couch.
It was another one that got drafted too. I forgot. It was a receiver, and his brother just looked at like they were just arguing. I'm trying to think who. Let me go back. I'm like, why is he so upset? Was it Justin Jefferson? It was someone. I forgot. I have to replay it, but I was watching it with my wife, and I'm like, look at his brother all mad.
Yeah.
Allergies. You know what else was interesting? Man, ESPN is really running with these sob stories. Like, I understand that people got to go through hardships, but I don't know what's their agenda by pushing it out there. I don't know. It's like everybody got drafted. Hey, this guy just went number 5. But did you know his sister was involved in a car accident and she lost all her pinkies? Like ESPN, I don't need to know that this guy saved somebody from CPR. Like I want to. It's weird because they talk about how he went through all this weird. I mean, not weird, but he went through all this hardship. Somebody's mother's died, and then next he cut to them like raising the roof because he just got drafted. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was in bad taste.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do it with everybody, right? Like they have, maybe it's a product of, hey, you're gonna be drafted. What's something that you want people to know about you or anything like that? Maybe they're asking them. I don't know their process behind this, right? But you're gonna want to tell the most memorable stuff, like, hey, I did this or I did that or I went through this. Like, just imagine. But I think you're absolutely right. I mean, they are trying to play at the heartstrings a little bit too often. It's, to me, I'm amazed at the fact that if not a third of these individuals have gone through some stuff, like adversity, and that's good to see, but I think you're absolutely right. Do we have to be force fed it or anything like that? I mean, I'm just genuinely happy for these kids, man. Like living their lifelong dream. I mean, if statistics are right, only half of them are going to be good, but this is their moment. I'm genuinely happy for them, but I think you're right in that the ESPN probably thinks this is what we want to hear. This is what we want to see. I mean, I know that we're all going through things right now. I know that, depression and mental health and awareness is definitely, not really a big focus at the moment with everything going on. So maybe they want to add to that and be like, look, we're all going through shit or stuff or anything like that. So I see where they're coming from, but I think you're right in that maybe they're just force feeding it or they're just playing too much.
Yeah, I want to be happy for these guys. Like, it was too many times where I'm watching the draft and trying to see who get picked or who got picked that I had to end up crying at the end because I felt bad. And it's like, nah. Then your mind always goes, nah, he's fine. He's drafted now. But it's like, nah, he's not. He's never going to be fine. And it's like, I don't know.
The one thing
go ahead.
The one thing I did like was when they were cut, like the people. I mean, it was pre-recorded, right? But like the people that were announcing the picks. Mm-hmm. So like, the Browns fan, the St. Jude's kid, like, the workers in Seattle, at Link Field. So I thought that was pretty cool, but it's like they hit us with the double, right? They'll hit us with that, and then they'll hit us with the actual draft pick who's gone through some stuff and it's just like, whoa, what the hell, like you're absolutely right. Like I'm going to feel, I'm going to have all sorts of feels in hearing that stuff, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was an interesting draft though. I kind of like how they did it and like how it goes so far. Let's see. Let's look at any. Let me go to the second round and just look at any second round interesting picks. Jalen Hurts.
Oh, dude. What do you think about that? I'm not a fan.
I don't know if it's high on the board. Carson Wentz gets hurt all the time. Makes sense.
Nick Foles, he's gonna win them another bowl or what?
Nick Foles is in Chicago right now.
He's in Chicago, but maybe they see Hurts as the next Nick Foles, right? Wentz goes down. This is our insurance.
Yeah, maybe. Wentz, he's been going down every single year. I don't think he went down last year, but
similar, right? He got good wheels. Similar, kind of similar build, similar background. So, I guess it makes sense. If Wentz, it's a insurance. Yeah. I'm sure Wentz is probably thinking, what the hell,
Yeah, but he knows. He knows. The Raiders are on the clock right now. Pick is in.
Another Clemson boy, man.
Who is it?
Muse. Taylor Muse.
And that's to the Raiders?
Yep. Linebacker / safety. He's labeled as a safety, but they call him a linebacker.
Okay, well that means he's fast. I'm with it. That's a pick from.
And he's a Clemson. Mayock loves his Clemson boys.
Man, we just missed on one of them, man. Well, I like what you said about Clinton Farrell, whatever. He didn't have like number 4 like stats, but he played pretty good. He was serviceable. He was the guy in the rotation. And if he takes the next Turner, he wasn't a bust. So that's all that matters to me.
That's the way I look at it, man. Like I know that you don't like being compared to the only Bay Area team,
Ooh.
But Solomon Thomas rings a bell, mm-hmm. right? Like Solomon Thomas, what was second, third round pick, and I think it was third round, and he's been serviceable, right? Like. Is he worth that pick? I don't think so. He was at the time, but the verdict's still out for Farrell. I think what made it a little worse on him was the fact that Crosby came out and just balled out for you guys, right?
Yeah, that's what kind of makes me re-believe in this wide receiver picking right now, because Mayock, he's going to get his position skill player if either you're going to be a first rounder or a fourth rounder or a third rounder, whatever you can add value, and you feel like he could. He's not afraid to pick at multiple positions. Like he has no fear. And now we got this Muse guy in. Yeah, and he can. We just got a safety that's kind of like similar. Hopefully we can build something. I'm looking forward to the season as a Razor fan. Like I know our division is getting harder, but let's talk about our division. Let's talk about Herbert. How do you feel about that? Well, my division.
It's everybody was saying he was going to go there, right? I mean, I was wishful thinking, and them going defense. I mean,
they both had Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I think it was there, but it sets them up, right? I mean, I think Tyrod's still going to get his chance. I think he definitely plays for a year. And maybe they develop Herbert. They develop Herbert, and he's the future. And it's like, I think he understands that. I don't think it's like, I'm going to start now right away. Maybe he balls out in preseason or anything like that. But it was an okay pick. I mean, I'm not going to knock it. I'll wait and see what he has. I mean, I think he was very inconsistent with Oregon, especially, because they're in the Pac-12 North. So being up here, we're able to see them quite a bit. So I thought there were some inconsistencies there, but it was an okay pick. I really love the fact that they traded back in and got that linebacker. Like Kenneth Murray going to them is a steal, in my opinion. Just a couple going to the Eagles actually at the what was it, the 21st pick, or the 22nd pick to the Eagles.
19th pick.
So he ended up going more. He ended up going shortly after 23rd pick to the Chargers. So right around that same. But I absolutely love that pick. Why? Because they actually lost their veteran linebacker to my Redskins, Davis. Mm-hmm. The serviceable linebacker that came from Carolina. And I mean, he did really, really well for the Chargers D last year. And, you replace somebody, you get somebody that can play immediately, I think. Murray was a tackling machine. Yeah. But I know that you asked about Herbert. I mean, I'm not upset about the pick, but I thought if they were going to go defense, they definitely could have got some value at that side.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pick that everybody had in, but we'll see. We'll see in a couple of years. One thing I do notice about all these quarterbacks, and just me getting older as a person, it's a new wave now. It's a whole new wave about what quarterbacks can do and what type of quarterbacks people like. Look at Packers getting love. I think that's the type, like Tua, even Joe Burrow. These guys can throw the ball, but they can also move in the pocket a lot. Because I think now I think I was watching some show, and they said Jared Goff might have been the last pure pocket quarterback that got drafted, and that might be the last of his kind. It stops with him. Because, Carson Wentz, he moves. Dax moves. Like, everybody moves. But Jared Goff is like a pocket passer. Do you think pocket passers are in the past? Are like, not saying these guys aren't pocket passers, but pure pocket passers who doesn't roll to the right, that's going to stay in the pocket and throw the ball away.
Yes and no. I will agree to disagree. And in that situation, the reason that I say that, and it's probably because we have an anomaly at the moment, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not mobile at all, and he's still one of the tops. He's still the GOAT. That's not going to change. So it's if he can do it, I mean, obviously you gotta have his pedigree, his mental fortitude, if you say, in order to be like, hey, I know how to get the ball out quick. I know where it needs to be. I know where it needs to go. And that's why the longevity is there, right? Like, he doesn't get hit that often because he releases it as soon as he possibly can.
Yeah, but I think that's the change. Like, he's an anomaly, but he needs a lot of people around him, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of these teams. I think they use these quarterbacks as scapegoats to making things happen. Like, look at Lamar, or look at Patrick, or look at even Aaron Rodgers until he got really banged up. They want the guys to move so they can create plays, and those guys like Tony Romo, some guy who can create, and also throw the ball. I think
Yep.
that's the only quarterbacks we're going to see from now on.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, I think you're right. You're gonna have to learn how to move. There is, you know, I'm having a hard time because you have to be careful with saying they're always gonna move, right? Like you can't be rush first, then throw. You know, like you have to be able to move to throw. And I think that's a difference there, you know, because it's like we saw this wave like RG3. You know, unfortunately, I should know, but
I
he
blame Mike
was moving,
Shanahan.
but he was moving to move. He wasn't moving to throw. If that sounds correct,
No, I get
right?
what you're
Like
saying.
you know, it's like you would move your first thing. It's like okay, all my receivers are taken. I'm gonna break the pocket and I'm just gonna run for it. You know, and it's like that shouldn't necessarily be the case. Like you should also trust your receivers to get free or help you out, but you got to move back there so that they don't come at you and get hit or anything like that. And I think that's where we're at, right? Like we're seeing these quarterbacks. Even Herbert has it, right? Like I had heard that it was a perfect fit for the Chargers because they had Philip Rivers who never moved,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, instead of throwing it away, threw it to the other team. But it's like now they have that element where he does move. You know, he's not a runner, but he can get out of the way. And it's like I think you do need that because look at these damn D linemen. Look at these pass rushers that are coming into it, man. These guys are monsters heading at you.
Yeah.
And quick as I mean, you got D linemen running 4.40s. Like what
Yeah.
would damn well, you know, have that. So that's what I say where it's like I think you're right in that quarterbacks do need to move, but it's a fine line to say, well, you're a runner, you know, like
I don't think they have to necessarily be a runner. But if you look at the upper echelon of quarterbacks, they're all movers. Tom Brady's the only one who's not a mover. But I'm gonna just talk about who's not movers. Jameis Winston is not a mover. He's almost done in the league. Who else?
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. Yeah, he plays. Okay. I see what you did there. Drew Brees. Okay, that's a good one. He's not a mover, but he has a,
hey,
he gets
getting
spelled a
money.
lot for moving plays. Like
Yeah.
Taysom Hill, he comes in so he can pass but really run if something breaks down on that one play, on that gadget play. Who else is
All right.
it? We got
Would you consider Darnold a mover?
who?
I mean, he can move, but Sam Darnold, Jets.
Yep.
You consider him a mover?
Mm-hmm. He can move.
Nice.
Uh-oh. I think I lost your feed there. Guru, you here?
Yeah, I apologize, fellas. It won't happen again. I had some things to take care of.
We got Guru on the line real fast. Guru, let me bring Guru in real fast. Guru, what's up?
Y'all doing, man? What's going on, Tito?
What up, man? How's it going, Guru?
Hanging in there.
Yeah, we're here, man. We're just talking. How did you feel about the draft last night?
I felt surprised. I know you guys did. Did any of us nail anything?
Yeah. You didn't. Let's just start off by saying you didn't nail the Dolphins pick. You didn't nail that at all. Did you? Yeah, you did. Let's just go back. You had you had them trading for Dak Prescott. That's what you had. You had them trading for Dak Prescott. Juan, he nailed the shocker of the first round. He nailed Love to Packers. That was all him.
Oh, good job. Yeah.
Yeah, he nailed that one.
Damn.
That was was called.
Hold on, let me ask Juan. What made you see that?
Really what it came down to, man, is I had shades of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Like knowing LaFleur, knowing where he comes from, Rodgers being 36, and yeah, you were one game away from the bowl. You got to start thinking about it. like you have to start thinking about what's next. And people, Love was climbing up boards. I think he was projected to the Raiders, if anything. I was like, they got to start thinking about this. When do you do this? Like, don't run into a Charger situation where, I mean, they got their guy, right? But it's like year after year, they were talking about, well, who's next? Who's going to back up Phillip Rivers? I mean, we see it with the Patriots right now. Who's going to back up Tom Brady? So for me, man, I just had a feeling that they had to start thinking about this. I was like, the Packers made sense to me. It just made sense that they needed to start thinking about this because of LaFleur back there. But I gave credit to Rainier in saying that he was right in that Aaron Rodgers' toxic mentality or characteristics was not going to go down. He was going to go down swinging or throw a fit or anything like that. And all the reports are saying that that's the case. I mean, he's probably not going to talk to these guys for a good while, which is known for, right? Not talking to people. But it was one of those, man. Like, I'll tell you, it was a gut, man. I mean, I wasn't really hearing any rumblings whatsoever about them going this direction. It was just a gut feeling, man, of like, dude, this makes sense to them. Like, I see it actually happening. And the funny thing is that it actually did. I mean, I got a lot of other things wrong. I mean, I glad to say that I hit on team needs, like this team going for a receiver, this team going for a tackle, like even Ruggs. Like, I think you were high on Ruggs. I had Ruggs going to the Raiders, but at 19. I didn't have him going at 12, but I had him going at 19. So it's like, it was good to have that. But yeah, man, I mean, I know you were high on Love. I really had a gut feeling that this was the shocker. This was the shaker that they were going to do. And it panned out, man.
Yeah, Guru, you picked Ruggs to go to the Raiders, so you were right about that.
Oh, did? Okay. I like his size. Cool. I nailed one.
Yeah. But it was cool. What do you think about the Cowboys pick? CeeDee's nuts.
Well, CeeDee Lamb, I like the pick. I wanted a safety. I wanted Xavier Henry or whatever his name was because I felt like that was a need for us. But what this signals is this. So I can see why this pick was made with CeeDee Lamb. One, Jerry Jones likes Oklahoma players. He likes players from the Southwest. Two, Amari's contract is a 5-year, $100 million contract, but $40 million of that is only guaranteed. So really the first 2 years of that contract is really guaranteed. And if he doesn't ascend, then they have his replacement in line. So that's what
you wait the first round pick on a 2-year replacement deal. I don't know, Guru. I'm thinking you're trying to say they reached and you're trying to justify it right now. Just say you felt your team reached and got a player that they shouldn't have got.
We did reach. I'll be honest with you, but that's the only way I can justify it. But that was a reach. I agree with you.
Yeah, they have a plethora of receivers. It makes sense, but I think the Cowboys, any other. I don't know. You guys didn't make the playoffs last year neither, so you can go any position as well. So what was your number one shocker of the first? What was your number one shocker of the first round?
My number one shocker of the first round was really the quarterback out of Oregon. I know what's his name?
Herbert.
Jason. That was kind of a stunner, even though I heard that he would go early, only because Tyrod Taylor is, he's still ascending. I know 31 sounds old, but we don't say that about people like Tom Brady, Brett Favre, or Drew Brees. 31 is young for a quarterback who doesn't have a lot of wear and tear, who takes great care of the football, and he can win games. He's been to the playoffs. But I do understand I do understand the need because you feel like you have a quarterback of the future. I don't think Tyrod's position is in any threat this season. I think he's going to go far in the playoffs. I don't know what happens from there, but that was my surprise of the first round.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Tyrod Taylor is not a bad quarterback, but he's always in that position where he's playing like he's holding the throne for the real king to come follow up behind him. He had some real good years in Buffalo. I think he got drafted to the Ravens, so he wasn't going to see that much time there. But he had some real good years in Buffalo. He did good in Cleveland, but it's those high draft picks once again. It was right behind him, and I feel like some players in the NFL that's their position. Like they're going to be the Fitzpatrick guys on, the starter for right now until we finally got to be truly in love with, and then we're going to move on. And unfortunately, that seemed like Tyrod's career right now, but it was the same for Nick Foles' career for a while. Look could turn around. Like you said, he's 30 years old. He's going to be 31 in August. He has time. Like, I would take him on my team over my quarterbacks right now, but we'll see. If he has a standout year, the Chargers, they'll let him Herbert sit, or they'll trade Tyrod to be a starter somewhere else. Like, I think right now the NFL quarterback longevity, thanks to Tom Brady, is elongated. Like, now they kind of, like you said, 31 is young because he can technically play 7 solid seasons before he might taper off a little bit. And Tyrod Taylor, he can run, but he doesn't run first. He always looks to pass. Like, he's one of those, like we and Juan talked earlier about, he's one of these moving quarterbacks, like, that can pass, but they can also run if needed. And Tyrod Taylor's that guy, but they were the Chargers was in love with Jordan, and that's what's gonna happen. So when you find your guy, you get your guy. Like, of course, like, I'll use a basketball analogy. If a guy you can have on your team and you can draft him yourself, you'll feel more proud and feel more pride when that player does well. Like the Warriors, they feel good about Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and even Draymond Green over Kevin Durant. And it's not because Kevin Durant did anything wrong, and Kevin Durant is a great player, but he wasn't homegrown. They didn't feel like they drafted him. So these sports teams, they really feel in love with the players they draft. That's they're doing. Like the Saints, they didn't believe in Drew Brees. Well, I guess they technically did because he was hurt. So I can see how that was kind of like, But you get what I'm saying. So I think it's just business. Tyrod's gonna have to find somebody who's like a journeyman coach and just organization. We see you in there drinking that Squirt, sponsored by Squirt. He's like, oh, let me get my plug in. They seen the show. They said they go send me 4 free bottles if I take 2 sips on air.
Oh,
it ain't even that.
Oh, my bad. I gotta turn.
No, it's cool. Leave it on. It's cool. It's no biggie. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Tyrod. I think he's safe for this year. He could be safe for next year. Herbert could develop. I think the NFL needs to get back into developing quarterbacks anyway, not rushing them. A lot of times these rush quarterbacks not getting a fair shake. Like Dwayne Haskins, I know they call for him to start, but he shouldn't be starting right now. He should have sat back and learned and really soak up the offense. And I still think it's cool. Like, I don't know. I know this is not draft talk, but if do you guys think the Washington is sticking with him? Go ahead, Juan. You go first. Let Juan go. That's his team. That's Juan's team.
I think they are. I think, Rivera's in it for the long haul. He signed a 5-year deal. He brought Kyle Allen in, who he's comfortable with and familiar with, to kind of hopefully ruffle some feathers. Haskin has an opportunity because he's a homegrown guy. Like, as much as Snyder wants to say he's not involved, it's Snyder's team. And if he believes in you, he's going to back you. And I mean, some of these players that are talking bad about management and stuff like that, I don't think not one player has ever talked bad about Daniel Snyder, of being like, hey, he's back. He got my back. Definitely there. Yeah. So, and I think Haskins is definitely Daniel Snyder's guy. Like, he's the one that made that pick last year, I think. I don't think Rivera owes him anything. So there is a possibility of hey, you know what? You better be who you say you are, and do it. I agree with you. I think he should be sitting, though. I think They rushed him too quick. I mean, they had Keenum. I just think it was just, hey, they knew they were just going to be sorry. They knew weren't going to be winning any games, and they went that route. It's weird though because they still have Alex Smith, and I mean, we still don't know. Like, hey, there's still potential.
Nah, come on, man. He almost died because of infection. If he doesn't retire, I don't know. I don't know what's going to take. He needs to be done.
I'm sure they've talked about that. I mean, I've heard it, but he's came out and said he still wants to play. And I mean, he's still under contract. You know, he's still making money. So I wouldn't pass it to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to come back and give you another year or not. You know, I mean, Alex Smith has learned the art of the bubble screen. He's earned the, you know, he's Mr. I'm going to check down, you know, and it's like that could keep him healthy if he just continues to lean on the check down. But I do think Haskins our guy. I think they're going to give him a fair chance, but it's just a matter of what he does with it. Sadly, he's in a division of dogs, man. I mean, you know, you have Dallas, you have Philly, Giants. I mean, even though they're boo-boo at the moment, they're definitely up and coming.
Boo-boo.
It's going to be interesting, you know, to see. But I think it's going to start with their defense, and they're doing right. You know, they're baby Alabama over there, but I think that is their guy.
Yeah, go ahead, Guru. What do you feel about the?
I think you know, when people don't, you know, I watch this guy, I watch him play, and he is the second coming of Dan Fouts, and I think that he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. On my draft board last year, I had him in the top 5, and he dropped. And I don't feel like I feel like he was getting better towards the end. I think he's a 10-win quarterback this season. I think he's better than Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow had to leave. And I'm not just saying that, you know, because he's from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I really feel like this guy.
Go ahead. I never knew that. Go ahead, Guru.
I really believe that he is like the future of the NFL. The Redskins stole one here. I think Daniel Snyder knows what he's doing. And you know what? He doesn't want to check the ball down. You know, they want to spread that ball around the field. And I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people. I predict that the Redskins win at least 8 games.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I don't hate them. I'm not against them. If
they're not my team either, and I grew up 5 minutes from them.
What? And you're a Cowboys fan. This is like weird, but I think they have to put more talent around him at the wide receiver position. If they do that, he'll be fine. He doesn't really have a go-to tight end either right now. His receivers are a bunch of no names, but they can build their name up together. And Haskins, like, you know, I want him to be successful. And he, you know, it's he's a good quarterback. I don't hate him, and I don't think he's a bad player. But he got Darius, what's his name, Juice or Goose? How does he pronounce his last name? Guys, yeah, Guys. And they have Adrian Peterson, old man back, so they have a pretty good team. It's just the receivers, if they can all get on board. And of course, I want to see Ron Rivera do well in any situation that he in. He's a good good head coach. He believes in his players, and like you said, he got that insurance piece. Who knows his offense? Kyle Allen, if they need to go to, but Dan Snyder's going to stick up for his players. Like we all seen, I don't know if you've seen it, but we got his interviews out there with his former players, Santana Moss, everybody, Clinton Portis, everybody who played for that organization at one point in time. Really respect how Dan Snyder stood up for him and really, you know, had their backs. I don't think he had RG3 back. He could have sat him, but that's another conversation another day, man. I don't blame RG3's career on himself. I blame this on him wanting to play. He should. Sometimes you got to look at the bigger picture in life and sit out. If you really hurt, okay, Guru, I'm real comfortable that you're out in the field and you have on that mask. I really like that. That's a great look.
I blame him.
You blame who?
I blame RG3. I blame him.
Why though? This is just let's talk about it. 2011, I think it was.
So let's go playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks. he gets hurt. And it's Shanahan, I think, is the coach, right?
Yep, I hate him.
So he gets hurt, first quarter, I believe. And they had Cousins, gets in, doing okay. The game is still not out, out of reach. And he comes back in. And everybody, telecast, me, anybody, I'm trying to remember if I was on social media back then. Everybody was like, "What are you doing, Shanahan? What are you doing?" And everybody was on it, right? Little behold, after the game, RG3, what did you think of Shanahan putting you back in the game? I was the only option.
He was at the
His
time.
Answer was, no, I'm sorry, man. If you're a quarterback, if you're the leader of the team, you are not the only option. Like, you have to. Your knee was busted. How did you not know that? Like, I know for a fact you did. And you're saying there was no other choice? You had Kirk Cousins back there. What, you don't want? All right, but dude, like, the only option? Like, no, I'm sorry, man. Like, I do not agree with that mentality of like, it was me. I'm the only one that could have done this. I'm the only one that could have won that game. That's what he was saying. He was saying he was the only option. And that's what I don't agree with. That's why I blame RG3. I was behind him when he came in, man. But for him to say I was the only option, I was going to win that game on a bum knee, get out of here, man. You a bum. You deserve what you deserve, man. Like, that's where it's at. I don't agree with that mentality, dude. I don't.
I think I don't know. To me, nah, man. Nah, that's NFL mentality. Players don't ever want to take themselves out. Like, look at T.O. in the Super Bowl. These players, they're going to want to play. I think when you, as an organization, as a head coach, if you've been in the NFL for 30 plus years, you know how this works. And if a guy's hurt, and you kind of know he's on his last string of his knee, and he's 20 years old, of course he's going to want to play. That's natural of a young person to want to do. They're gonna want to be in the game. Like, it's nobody's fault for it because freak accidents happen. But RG3 wanted to play and really felt like he was the only option for a team because he brought a team that he picked second for a reason. He was offensive rookie of the year for a reason. He did better than Andrew Luck's coach that year. I know they're different divisions, but he did good. He came out of nowhere when nobody expected nothing from him. So I can understand his mentality that he felt like he's the only option because he's the only reason why they got there in the first place. But at the same time, as a head coaching staff, you at your job. You've been a manager plenty of times in your life, and you know how sometimes you got to make the hard call for somebody else who's not going to make it for themselves. So I mean, I guess we shouldn't dwell on it too much. His life is not like sad or nothing like that. He has a good situation. He has a whole bunch of stuff going for him. But I don't know. I think and as far as Dwayne Haskins on the quarterback now, if he plays it right, if Dan Snyder actually, not say let go of the reins, but if he let the team run itself and not really interfere, I think he can bring it back. Like Washington, they're not in a hard division. I don't care what nobody said about the NFC East. And I'm sorry, Guru, but the Cowboys are not it. They're not the ones. They are not the ones. The Eagles, Carson Wentz, he's flaky. That's why they drafted Jalen Hurts because he's flaky. Sometimes he gets hurt. The Giants are at rebuild right now. Daniel Jones, the jury is still out. If he, that might be a surprise team if he can turn it around with him and Saquon. But the Redskins, if they can find some receiver help and really stay consistent, Haskins can have a good career. But if not, his turn for let's just be honest, for color quarterbacks, their windows are kind of like this. Like, Tyrod Taylor, Emmanuel, what's his name? Not Manuel. Yeah, number 3 for the Bills. Manuel, I forgot his name. He only got like one season with the Bills and he was gone. Mark Sanchez, and I keep talking about Mark Sanchez because he went. No, Mark Sanchez is not trash. Mark Sanchez is not elite, but he's not trash. Like we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it another day. That was my initial conversation. What'd you say, Juan?
I mean, he ran into a booty, bro. Come on, man.
Nah, I understand that, but that's when once your team gives up on you and you play, He was like, TT, what you doing out here with all those cheeks? Blah. I don't know, but to me, Mark Sanchez should still be in the NFL though for what he's done. And you got Fitzpatrick still in the league. You got who else? John Kitna stay in the league forever. It's players stay in the league, man. And I don't think Mark Sanchez was that bad. Like if you look at his resume, like sometimes these players' resumes are looked at the same. Like we want to look at it as like scapegoats. Like, oh no, he was cool, but his defense was the best. Like defenses are great and they do win championships, but they don't do nothing 3 years in a row. You got to have serviceable quarterback play. Like if you can think of the receivers, Mark Sanchez has Braylon Edwards. He brought his career back out, and Santonio Holmes, who had a great career in Pittsburgh and who came to the Jets and they were making waves. It's because their quarterback threw him the ball. So people can't tell me that he was that bad. Anyway, back to the original point. Dwayne Haskins, he might do something pretty good. Jalen Hurts, he's not going to get in, but it's good that he got drafted. He's in a position where he can play. Cowboys, I don't know what you guys doing with your draft. I don't know. Jerry Jones is in a dungeon. He's in an all white couches by himself and his like daughters and friends. Like no team personnel around him. Did they show Mike McCarthy? They did, huh?
Yeah, I'm mad about that Jalen Hurts pick because I wanted him and he was there for the taking, and we didn't get him. You know,
y'all don't need him. Nobody. Like I think at this point the Cowboys realize they want to stick with Dak Prescott, Guru. I think they want to stick with him. They just trying to make it work out. He's making it hard for him. And prayers for Dak Prescott. He had some hardships in his family. It's like he got drafted last night. Nah, that joke's not funny.
Cowboys had a second round pick though. They got first round grade. They took Trayvon Diggs, cornerback, Alabama.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good second rounder.
That's
right
a good
there,
second rounder right there.
That's first round talent. So Jerry Jones, no, I won't, I definitely would say they came up on that second pick.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah, but for me, so far, the draft winners, Miami, Indianapolis. Who else? Tampa Bay.
Really,
yeah, those are my 3 teams.
I really like what Indianapolis is doing, man. That second round, they didn't have no first round pick, but they made up for it in the second round.
Right.
Hitman and Taylor to help. Yep. Their defense was already good. So now it's just getting offensive weapons, somebody to go with T.Y. and Phillip Rivers. Now it's just a matter of is he going to pan out? I mean, I still think they need to think about, Brissett. Do they put their, chips in Brissett, or do they draft a quarterback later on? But I really like what the Colts are doing with those 2 picks in the second round.
Yeah, I think they draft a quarterback in the later rounds and then stick with Jacoby and then let Phillip Rivers back him up. But we'll see. You bring in Phillip Rivers for all that money, you got to pay him. But then again, you got Jacoby making $20 million a year. You should play him too. So we'll see. I don't think he did that bad. They have a surprise season. Indianapolis, to me, they kind of got a skip year. They did pretty good in the beginning, first half of 2019. They kind of fell off in the last half. But, Andrew Luck retired, the 99 rated quarterback out the draft, who I thought was pretty good, but he's a moving quarterback. And, he got hurt. Him and RG3, who would have thought? The first 1 and 2 careers would have went how it went. Andrew Luck, you thought he was going to have Super Bowl. You thought RG3 might have brought the Redskins organization back up. But those guys are, a shell of themselves. RG3 still in the league. Andrew Luck is on a boat fishing somewhere with a big. His face looked more scruffier than mine. He looks like a duck master. So, anything last thing? I think it's like 9:20. Any last? Well, I don't know. We could keep going. I haven't even been paying attention to the comments or people saying something. Somebody said they're throwing 19 for a chicken. I know what that is. That's not appropriate for the show. Yeah. Anything else, fellas?
I just like the way the teams are are stacking up. I'm excited to see how some of these draft picks really pan out because there's going to be a lot of no-name players that are going to be stars, like those hungry players that were taken at the back end. And we have to keep in mind that the draft is not an exact science. And, I'm excited about seeing what's going to happen with players like Joe Burrow and certain players. So, yeah.
Tito?
Yeah, man. I mean, just exciting times. I mean, I'm just glad, that they held this draft. It's kind of cool seeing, people's homes and reactions and all the memes and, the phone stealing and everything like that. That's definitely really, really cool. You're probably going to find it strange. And I told myself I never want to fall into this stereotype and root for the Raiders, but I'd be interested if all these receivers pan out, just as last year's draft picks panned out. I think I'll definitely have to show them some love, man.
Yeah.
Back-to-back receivers is pretty crazy for the Raiders, but I really like those picks. I mean, those players are individual, really good players, and they make sense used right. So now it's just a matter of can they get the quarterback play to elevate the weapons that you guys just added to your team.
Yeah. Can you please comment on that?
What was that?
Who, me?
I was going to say, Rahmir, can you please comment on the quarterback situation based on the weapons that are surrounding him and the scheme that he's been in for a couple years now, and what your expectations are for this season with the Las Vegas Raiders?
With the Raiders, I guess I'll start to Juan's point. I'm with you. I'm looking forward to a few years looking back like, man, Mayock was a guru on television. Now he's a guru in the meeting room with the Las Vegas Raiders. Like, I'm looking forward to us really being a team of the future and just really building through the draft and really building good players through the draft. So hopefully that's the case. And to the Raiders quarterback situation, we'll see. We have talent around Carr. It's a big. If you're on Twitter, Guru, it's a big Raider gathering around Carr, and it's people that's for him or people against him. And I guess with my tweets, they say I'm against them, but I'm not. I really root for him, but at the same time, it's how many. You said it. He's been a couple years in the system, and he's not really taking that extra step. I'm looking forward to all these weapons with Mariota on the field. Mariota rolling to the right, Riggs running to the right, and all these guys crossing and all the gadget plays, and Jacobs really running the ball. I'm looking forward to it. We got Waller in there. Like we're building a young team. Like if we got Hunter. I'm saying I'm not even mentioning the players we have. If we just need somebody that can be efficient with the rock. If it's Derek Carr, great, we love it. But he doesn't. Sometimes he missed that he doesn't have that if factor. And I feel like it's real with his injury and his mental game. I was talking to Tito earlier about how I think the quarterback position is changing. Like in the pocket quarterbacks are great, but you have to also be able to run. And Derek Carr was that guy who wasn't afraid to run out the pocket. But we all infamously know what happened to his leg, and he doesn't want to run anymore. He'd rather throw the ball besides trying to go the extra 2 yards to get the first down or the touchdown on the last play of Raiders history at the Coliseum. But besides that, if we can get them on board with these picks, get them in, I don't know how they're going to build that rapport because they can't really work out together. I'm pretty sure the NFL and all these sports leagues and they develop some kind of mass testing and get their guys together to build up that camaraderie. But we'll see. To me, it's been a good escape. Being a Raider fan, I think we did a good job in the draft so thus far.
Just one more question for Tito gets in. Do you believe Derek Carr is? Do you, as a fan, and do you believe that Derek Carr is your quarterback, or do you believe that it should be an open quarterback competition?
No, I think you give it to Derek Carr. He's been there. He knows the system. Until he 100% lose it, I'll give him 3 weeks. If he can 3-4 weeks in the first season, if he's really playing bad, take him out. But Other than that, it's his team. People like him. People love him. We don't even. I haven't even said anything about Abrams. Like we've been drafting pretty good. So, but back to quarterback play, we've been good. I won't be surprised if we took a quarterback in the later rounds. But I think the Raiders are really licking their chops to like. If they're pretty good, they're going to try to perform. But if they stink in the early season, tanking for Trevor is going to be a thing that they're going to do. I think we're going to try to get Lawrence next year from Clemson. I think so.
Any weapons for that? Mm-hmm.
Nah, I don't be surprised if you see Bowden play some quarterback for you, man.
We'll see. We'll see.
Don't be surprised. I wouldn't pass it. You know, I wouldn't pass anything by Mayock and Gruden. If you have somebody that was an All-American quarterback in high school and playing the way he was playing with Kentucky at the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised that. I mean, yes, he's a receiver. I mean, he can definitely play some running back as well. But he held his ground as a quarterback. So don't be surprised to see Bowden take some snaps. It'll be interesting. You got his playbook tremendously. I think really all these moves, all these receiver pickups, man, is really to lean a little bit on free him up. Everybody knows that Jacobs your offensive weapon. Give him the ball. He's going to do some good things. If people are going to know that, now you have those weapons, right? That you have to account for Ruggs. You have to account for Waller. Now that you have to account for all these other guys, Jacobs to do what he does best, which is get that little bubble screen or run into those little pockets. So, yeah, man. I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty much tapped out. Anything else, guys?
No, that's it for me. Till Tuesday.
Yep. Last Dance Sunday.
Wednesday.
3 and 4.
Wednesday. Sorry.
Yeah, 3 and 4. Last Dance, Michael Jordan saga. Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time. Coronavirus. Michael Jordan is cool. He's cool. I guess I'll end the show. You guys can stick on, but I'll end the show. So peace out, guys. My last words is that I think we're seeing the changing of the hand when it comes to the NFL. Like I kind of feel like an older person in society with all these young quarterbacks coming in the league and really looking to play. Like all the older guys are just really moving on and moving out. Like we have a whole bunch of free agent quarterbacks. Cam Newton. We have a whole bunch of top tier a couple years ago quarterbacks out there looking for teams, and it just shows that the NFL is moving on to that next wave of players. I kind of feel like this is like where you left the young Favre era to move into the Manning Brady era. Like this is all like this is happening right now, and it just it's cool. I'm looking to see who the future stars are going to be in the NFL for the next couple of years, and who's going to be the bust in the next couple of years. But naturally you want to root for everyone and wish everyone do well, but that's impossible because if somebody does great, that means somebody has to fail because somebody has to lose. I wish most of these players play for the Raiders, pan out, but that might not happen. But I'm intrigued to see, and hopefully these picks and all these draft picks, take an opportunity to do their best. These guys are blessed in a good position to have the skills and really make it to the NFL, because as a kid, everybody wants to be in the NFL. I know I wanted to be, and everybody, it's just something that they, you want as an American citizen. Not everyone, but it's mostly up there. So I'm looking forward to seeing. Till next time, we'll be back with Tito and Guru. We hope you enjoyed the show. Guys, wave out, wave out, wave out. Give us a wave. Boom, boom, boom.